You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. We are in the middle of a COVID epidemic, folks. 17 million cases of COVID in the United States. 308,000 people have died from COVID. And here's the deal. President-elect Joe Biden is going to be tested. We'll get the vaccine next week. Also, some breaking news I just got confirmed. Congressman Cedric Richmond of New Orleans has tested positive for coronavirus. I actually was he was actually at the rally on Tuesday here in Atlanta where President-elect Joe Biden spoke. I actually talked to Cedric Richmond. Thank goodness I was wearing my goggles and 2 masks. But again, it's Congressman Cedric Richmond, who is going to head Office of Public Engagement in the White House, has tested positive for COVID-19. And so just want to give you that breaking news there. But the other breaking news, the Trump administration actually sent out a memo where they were encouraging and they wanted herd immunity. Folks, you know how crazy that is? That would have resulted in thousands more Americans dying. They wanted them essentially to catch COVID-19 on purpose. Joining us right now is Congresswoman Maxine Waters. Congresswoman Waters, welcome back to Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be with you, Roland. Yes, you're on it. And I'm so glad you...
It is outlandish.
Yes.
It is outlandish, Congresswoman. Fauci called it ridiculous. Dr. Burke called it ridiculous. But again, they refuse to listen to somehow saying, oh, sure, if millions of Americans get coronavirus, yeah, we know we're going to have, thousands more deaths, but it's better to do it that way. That is unbelievable.
Yes, it is unbelievable. But it's consistent with the way this president has dealt with coronavirus. But they did to it that young people are infected. And so what they because they get over it, and then they'll have the antibody. And this is a theory. Unproven. They had no facts, but they moved with it. And I want to tell you, Roland, when you saw all of this resistance to closing down businesses where people could contract the virus, this was all about them pushing this to say, no, keep them open so that the young people could get infected. And they went on to say, and who cares if these young people get infected? They'll get over it. But this will help to create the antibodies that are needed to do away with the virus eventually. It's absolutely.
But the problem, the problem with that, Congresswoman, and here's the deal: your signal is actually going in and out, Congresswoman, and so to the control room. If that continues, it probably just be better to get her on the audio line. So let me know, y'all monitor that, and just let me know if we need to do that, because we certainly want people to hear what Congresswoman Waters has to say about this. You talked about them targeting young people. Look, we have seen young folks die from coronavirus, children, teenagers. We've seen folks in their 20s and 30s. We've seen athletes greatly impacted. We just saw one of the players from the University of Florida collapse during the game. They put him in a self-induced coma, and he had COVID this summer. They have not diagnosed why he collapsed. He almost died on the court, and we do know that COVID has caused heart issues among athletes. And so it's nuts when you heard Trump and others say, it's okay, young folks, it's just the sniffles.
Well, what they said is, who cares if young people die? Literally, we need them to do this herd immunity for us because that's the way we're going to save everybody. And then they were very slick about it. They didn't stop talking about, wash your hands and social distancing and all that the experts have told us about. But this was a way that they were going to try and say, well, we didn't stop people from doing what the experts were advising them to do. All we said was that in order to create this immunity, that we had to have this herd action going on. And so they didn't care if young people died. They were willing to, put them in harm's way and the possibility of death to prove this, business of the herd immunity, even though they had no facts to prove that it would work.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. Go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
Folks, this weekend in D.C., the Trump people, as I've said, they have not been able to handle losing. And so they gathered in Washington, D.C., and the racist domestic terrorists, the Proud Boys, came and acted like the thugs that they are, beating folks, terrorizing folks. But what really has angered people is the tearing down of Black Lives Matter signs from two black churches, Asbury Methodist Church and Metropolitan AME Church as well. Many people are asking, where were the cops? What was going on? Where were the federal authorities? We saw all this huge show of force, and Black Lives Matter was out there protesting, but what about this? Well, Carl Racine is the Attorney General for the District of Columbia, and he joins us right now. Carl, glad to have you in Roland Martin Unfiltered.
How you doing there, Roland? Very proud of your success in killing this platform.
Well, sir, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. What happened this weekend? It was shocking to see these thugs just rampaging through the streets as if there were no cops around to stop what they were doing. What as any the D.C. police or the federal authorities explain what in the world happened this weekend?
Well, a lot happened this weekend. I think, first of all, the President of the United States executed on his plan, as he indicated during the debate with President-elect Joe Biden. You remember the line, "Stand back, but stand by." He is now implementing that plan where he's asking the Proud Boys to no longer stand by. And as you correctly noted, they are a hate group, a white supremacist extremist group, who are obviously trying to destabilize the core principles of equality of our country. With regard to what occurred in the District of Columbia, you had a group of honestly hate mongers out to create havoc and distraction. And once they distracted the Metropolitan Police Department enough, they went ahead, as I'm sure they planned, and sought to desecrate African American churches. There is no coincidence that the AME Church over right by 17th and Rhode Island was targeted. That church, of course, is the sister church to Mother Emanuel in Charleston, where just a few years ago, Dylan Roof executed a number of peaceful and loving parishioners. I'm happy to talk about the Metropolitan Police Department if you would allow me to take another minute. Is that okay?
Sure. Go ahead.
Let me just tell you what I know. And I know this because our lawyers at the Office of Attorney General were following literally radio feeds going in and out from the police department to certain law enforcement officials, including our own. The Metropolitan Police Department were literally deluged minute by minute with all manner of events. And overwhelmingly, and I'm going to speak very honestly because I don't mind being critical of the police when it is appropriate. Overwhelmingly, the Metropolitan Police Department successfully separated folks who were going to literally go after each other. And we saw stabbings and assaults, and the police were tending to those. They were not in position to protect the entirety of the city, and I'm not being defensive here. I know that if the Metropolitan Police Department could have known that those two churches were going to be targeted, I firmly believe they would have had the appropriate level of security there. I don't think there was any intention nor carelessness, recklessness, or grave neglect on the part of the police department. I think they were trying to do, honestly, the best job they could. And the hate mongers should be the story, not the Metropolitan Police Department, who tried the best they could.
Are you and others analyzing the video? Are there any plans to charge these Proud Boys, these white domestic terrorists, with any crimes?
It's a fair and great question. Let me just say a couple of things about the Office of Attorney General of the District of Columbia. As you know, the District of Columbia is an unusual jurisdiction. We don't have the ability as D.C. local prosecutor to actually charge the kind of adult offenses that would be pursued against individuals and indeed the institution that is the Proud Boys. The prosecutor for those events are instead the federal prosecutor. And the federal prosecutor is appointed by the President of the United States. I know that the Metropolitan Police Department is investigating this matter. I wish I could be the prosecutor in my office who could bring these cases. Now's the time to put the pressure on the federal prosecutor to do its job, to bring the hate crime cases against those people who violated the rights of the church and otherwise caused havoc in our streets.
Well, it certainly was shocking and stunning for a lot of people to see what happened, to see what they did, desecrating those two black churches. Clearly, they were targeted as well, and so we certainly hope that the federal government would do what they're supposed to do. Well, again, what we're dealing with is, of course, Donald Trump and his minions as well. But it was pathetic to see, again, those individuals, bringing their hate down the street. And what really just bugs me to death, white conservative evangelicals have been real quiet. They've said nothing about the attacks on these black churches.
They said zero, Roland. You're exactly right. The leader of the Proud Boys visited the White House. Get this right. A hate group leader visited the White House. And then, hours later, went about desecrating black churches. Roland, may I raise an issue with you tonight?
Yeah, go ahead.
There are reports that Attorney General Bill Barr just resigned. I think it's effective in some days or shortly before Christmas.
Yeah,
have you heard of that?
Yeah, December 23rd. He has resigned, effective December 23rd.
I am deeply concerned, Roland, as I sit here tonight, about Bill Barr's resignation. Bill Barr has done Donald Trump's bidding since he came into office as Attorney General. In a way, Bill Barr was like an accomplice, maybe a driver who's involved in wrongdoing. The fact that he is leaving the car right now tells me that maybe Mr. Barr, who's done the bidding of Donald Trump, doesn't want to do the bidding of what is planned next. I believe that this is a 5-alarm fire for all of us to listen to, and that we need every respected leader, spiritual, religious, political, business, and military, to tell Donald Trump to cease and desist his undemocratic and dangerous actions. We need General Mattis, perhaps one of the most respected individuals in our country, to come out now and urge the military to not participate in any way in whatever Donald Trump has planned. Thank you, Roland.
Carl Racine, Attorney General for the District of Columbia. We certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Now I want to go to our panel here. Joining us on today's panel is Julianne Malveaux, economist, president emerita, Bennett College, Teresa Lundy, principal founder, TML Communications, Joseph Williams, senior editor at U.S. News and World Report. It was certainly something to behold, Julianne, to see those white domestic terrorists rampaging down the street, beating people, harassing people. And to see what they did to the Black Lives Matter signs at Asbury Methodist as well as Metropolitan AME.
You know, Metropolitan AME Church is my church. It's where I worship. Unfortunately, now online, but I joined about 4 years ago. I adore my pastor, who has much more equanimity than I do about this. This nonsense, Roland, is ridiculous. How do you put yourself onto church property, trespassing, tear signs down, burn them? This does remind us, as the pastor at Ashbury said, it reminds us of cross-burning. It was just so totally ridiculous. With these white white trash came looking for a fight. It was everywhere to find. That would put all kinds of had fun. Is that hate had been there all along? Hate can go back to enslavement. This hate that he unleashed. And I must tell you, Roland, that I am sickened by what had happened on Saturday evening and over the weekend.
I want to go to Joseph Williams. Joseph, again, to see what happened, I would think that federal authorities should be examining those videos and, again, using artificial intelligence to find out who those folks were and to prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law.
Well, and the local news has said that they're doing just that they're examining a lot of the videos that were taken and a lot of videos that have shown up on news networks of exactly what was happening. I mean, the cross-burning analogy is spot on, but even that seems too mild because they went after a church, which is sacred ground, which is trespassing to the nth degree. But there are two things that really concern me about what I just heard with your interview with Carl Racine. The first is he mentioned that the Metropolitan Police Department didn't necessarily have the manpower to track these groups or didn't have the ability to track all the scattershot violence that was going on. That concerned me a little bit. Number one, because back when the George Floyd protests were happening, they had choppers in the air. They had extra manpower on the ground. They had all kinds of things going on to make sure that they surveilled these people and that they knew where they were going ahead of time. That's concern number one. Concern number two is his comment about Bill Barr is just resonating in my head, and I'm like, holy mackerel. If this guy is saying that he's ringing the alarm bell about the departure of Trump's number one ally, there must be something incredibly mind-blowing about the fact that this man, presumably who has at least a little bit more information and more context than we do, that there's something afoot, and that is not good.
Roland, I know I'm speaking out of turn, but let me just say one more thing. Mayor Bowser, like I said, I know I'm speaking out of turn, but let me just say this. Mayor Bowser has been ahead of the game up until now. Now she's behind the game. She could have put troops out there, police out there. Peter Newsom has resigned his position. He's going to some smaller district with a $40,000 pay cut so he could get away from all of us, quite frankly. But the mayor should have, she's been doing a good job with COVID, but this is where she has dropped the ball, and we just need to make it clear. She's a sister, she all that, but this is on her watch.
Teresa, this is not going to be the last time we see this. I mean, folks had better be prepared because Trump and his minions, especially these Proud Boys, these thugs are so angry that he lost, and Trump is stoking them, and not even in a light way. They cannot, and we better be real careful between now and inauguration. They simply cannot accept the fact that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris beat Donald Trump.
And groups like this, these radical, right wing, almost conservatives, almost, just those groups that just choose not to believe in democracy and the way things work. So these are the people who I like to call the forgotten ones. Those who, feel like they've been empowered by, a leader that, maybe strokes their ego or strokes some sort of, some radical play that allows them to feel good about themselves, which is so interesting because some of these people are working directly in the institutions that we seek to change. So no, they're not going to be happy with what's going to happen when Kamala Harris and Joe Biden gets in. I think it is very interesting. Dr. Julianne brings up a great point that the mayor of D.C., phenomenal woman, but she did drop the ball. There were things that she could have done, but you know what? We're not in that administration, so we do not know if she did try and, something else happened. But I do believe if we're going to spread Black Lives Matter in yellow across the streets of Washington, D.C., we should have a better understanding of the ones who are taking part in this rally, but also some pro defense mechanisms that could have happened in order for some of those issues not to take place.
Well, we're certainly going to be monitoring this, and we hope to see. We certainly hope to see charges leveled against these individuals for their actions. I did reach out to the pastor of Metropolitan AME to see if he can join us. He was unable to do so tonight, but we certainly They have a standing invitation, the pastor Lamar does, to come on here at any time.
Folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
There are reports that Attorney General Bill Barr just resigned. I think it's effective in some days or shortly before Christmas.
Yeah,
have you heard of that?
Yeah, December 23rd. He has resigned, effective December 23rd.
I am deeply concerned, Roland, as I sit here tonight, about Bill Barr's resignation. Bill Barr has done Donald Trump's bidding since he came into office as Attorney General. In a way, Bill Barr was like an accomplice, maybe a driver who's involved in wrongdoing. The fact that he is leaving the car right now tells me that maybe Mr. Barr, who's done the bidding of Donald Trump, doesn't want to do the bidding of what is planned next. I believe that this is a 5-alarm fire for all of us to listen to, and that we need every respected leader, spiritual, religious, political, business, and military, to tell Donald Trump to cease and desist his undemocratic and dangerous actions. We need General Mattis, perhaps one of the most respected individuals in our country, to come out now and urge the military to not participate in any way in whatever Donald Trump has planned. Thank you, Roland.
Carl Racine, Attorney General for District of Columbia. We certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
I'm doing great. Wasn't this a great rally?
It was. First of all, thank goodness there was no rain. Otherwise, we'd be playing in the mud over here. But one of the things that jumps out yesterday, amazing turnout on the first day of early voting. Fair Fight says 41% of the turnout African American.
Well, I'm so excited to hear that, and just to have President-elect Biden here really speaks to how important it is. And we need all of the influence and excitement that we can get, because it's always a challenge to get people to show up for runoffs in our state. So I'm glad that all eyes are on Georgia. And we did it in November. We'll do it again.
You talked about it in your speech. You had to deal with that in terms of running in a runoff and eked out a win. And it's all about ground game. It's all about, it's really just driving folks. You can run all the ads you want to, but you really got to touch the folks to get them to know the actual runoff date. Hit Strategy did a poll with Higher Heights, and 35% of the black women who were surveyed didn't even know the date was January 5th. And so that's the other thing as well.
No, it's so important because we have to educate people. We have so many new voters in this state, and so many people believe that they got it done when they went in November, and they don't even understand the concept of a runoff. And that's why it's important for us as elected officials and community organizers to educate people and tell them why it's important. And when we tell people why it's important, they will show back up to vote.
President-elect Joe Biden gave you a special shout-out. You were one of the early supporters of Biden. And I remember at the debate in Atlanta, there were some other mayors, I won't say their names, who were jumping ship and going to other candidates. And you were not shy about calling them out.
And I still do it every opportunity that I get. Shall I start the roll call right now?
We're not gonna say anything, Steve Benjamin, Columbia, South Carolina.
You said it, not me. Steve is gonna kill us both. But Steve is our friend, and obviously that was a tough decision. We won't get into the details of that, but he wasn't the only one. So I'm just glad we're all one family again.
Of course, and then, of course, having Ossoff and Warnock. It's very interesting. I interviewed both of them, and it's very rare to see candidates essentially run together as opposed to running separate races.
It is. I've never seen it, at least in my voting life in Georgia. I don't know when, if ever, we've had two Senate runoffs. So this is just such an extraordinary time for so many reasons in this state. But to have the opportunity to change the landscape of the United States Senate is an opportunity. If it's ever happened in this state, I don't remember it. And on top of all of that, just two immensely qualified men who will represent us so well.
All right, last point here, just looking to the camera there. There's somebody out there who is registered, but they're like, I'm not quite sure. I don't know if this politics stuff, it doesn't work. It's not really going to solve any problems. My neighborhood hasn't changed. My community hasn't changed. What would you tell that person who is on the fence about voting in these runoff races?
Every election is another opportunity to get it right. That's what our democracy is all about. We are not a perfect country, but every few years we have an opportunity to work towards creating something better for our communities. And the power is within each of us. Our vote is our voice. And we spoke loud and clear. We made a change in the state. We made a difference across this nation. And the opportunity to have two senators to support the agenda of President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris is an opportunity that probably will come once in a lifetime, and we have to exercise our right to vote, as Congressman Lewis reminded us, because if we don't, we could lose it.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom, Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have, you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it. Please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
Let's talk about a couple of stories out of Kentucky. One of them involves Breonna Taylor, but another one involves a brother who actually we found out about him as a result of forming or organizing black militia folks to go to Louisville, Kentucky. John F. Johnson, also known as Grandmaster Jay of the No Effing Around Coalition, is facing both federal and state charges for allegedly assaulting federal task force officers. According to the criminal complaint, in September, Johnson, quote, forcibly assaulted, resisted, opposed, impeded, intimidated, and interfered with Louisville Metro Police Department while they were on the roof of the Jefferson County Grand Jury building, keeping watch on Jefferson Square Park, where an armed protest took place. Now, Johnson was seen brandishing an AR platform, a firearm at the officers. Now, this is where it comes in. Johnson was arrested at the Westchester, Ohio home on December 3rd. He appeared before a federal judge in Louisville last Thursday. The FBI, Louisville Division, and Louisville Metro Police Department are actively investigating this particular case. The NFAC leader is set to be arraigned on December 8th at 1 p.m. in Jefferson County. If convicted, Johnson faces maximum sentence of 20 years in federal prison.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have, you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it. Please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
All right, we are continuing to follow the news of the Pfizer vaccine coming up, but I want to bring my friend Roland Martin in because, Roland, this is what you call in our business a split screen, right? We have this massive story, the vaccine we've all been waiting for coming out. On the other side, and I'm sure you were watching this yesterday, all kinds of crazy going on in this country. The Wisconsin Supreme Court shut down another Trump case, another challenge to try and get a whole bunch of people disqualified from voting. Mostly people of color, by the way, not across Wisconsin, but in two counties that happen to have a lot of black people in them. Then we saw the Senator, Ron Johnson, saying that he's not all that convinced about the results of the election. And then we had this guy who a lot of people, I'm hoping my viewers don't really know, but he's the head of the Proud Boys, posting a picture of himself or a picture at the White House on Parler. He claims he got some last-minute invitation. The White House says He didn't. He was just coming for a tour. I don't know if you know, but you can't. Regular folks can't just roll up to the White House and have a tour. So I don't know what all that's about. And then there was this weird demonstration in Washington about how they're going to take over and the election's not real. There's a whole lot of crazy going on in this country.
A lot of crazy going on, fomented by not only Donald Trump, but the Republican Party. And this is dealing with the issue of white fear. I'm actually working on a book with Ben Bella Publishers on this very thing, because that's what we're dealing with. When you talked about this attack on black voters, it is an assault on the integrity of black voters. I'm in Atlanta right now, and same thing, when you have Senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue co-sign that ridiculous lawsuit from Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton suing these other states. And again, they are assaulting black voters in Atlanta, in Philadelphia, in Milwaukee, in Detroit, because they are angry with the results. And so what you see with the Proud Boys, and you see, again, the embracing of this. In fact, Kelly Loeffler, there's a photo that dropped yesterday of her taking a photo with a white supremacist, somebody who was marching there in Charlottesville. What we have to understand, Allie, is what we're seeing right now. And this is not just all about Trump. What we are seeing are people who are deathly afraid of this nation becoming a nation, majority people of color. We're going to see more of this. We must undergird ourselves. And remember, the FBI talked about the greatest terrorism threat is white domestic terrorism in this country. And that's what the Proud Boys are. And who openly supports them? Donald Trump and the Republican Party. And I say this here, for those 126 House members, what they did was sedition. They were traitors, and we cannot tread lightly of these individuals who have a complete disregard for democracy. We must combat that at every turn and call them out and not ignore those 18 Republican attorney generals, those 126 House members, and the shameful U.S. senators like Ron Johnson, who is not representing his black constituents in Wisconsin.
Yep. Roland, good to see you as always. Host of Roland Martin Unfiltered. Thank you for being with me this morning. It's nice to be in your home state. Stay with us. We're just getting started here in Houston.
You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
Look, very soon, Trump is going to throw his behind out of the White House. He will be clear. But, Congresswoman, what people don't understand is there is lasting damage that's been caused by this administration. Not just on coronavirus, but how they have completely gutted the federal government of scientists.
Yes, not only that, in order for him to strengthen his relationships with some of these dictators, he has basically undermined the State Department and all of the State Department experts who had the historical knowledge, etc. Most of them are gone because he wanted them gone so that they would not get in the way of what he wanted to do with international policy. This president has taken advantage of the presidency, and he's used the presidency in ways that was never envisioned by anybody. Of course, the Constitution cannot identify everything that a president cannot do. The Constitution gives the president the ability to be free enough and flexible enough to protect the United States, to make sure that they're providing safety for all of the people of the country, etc. But he absolutely used his power in reverse. He fired people, he's lied, he has alienated all of our allies abroad. He is cutting deals with dictators. He loves Putin, refuses to denounce him, knowing that he was responsible for hacking into our DNC and to some of the states. He has not yet criticized Putin because he has something going on with Putin. Deals that I think are made because he expected to be able to lift the sanctions that were placed on Putin by Obama because of the invasion that they did into Crimea. And so this president has harmed the presidency. And what we got to do is we got to develop a whole body of law to start to deal with that, because we don't know the presidency who have seen what this presidency was able to do with his power and try the same things and even more. This president, I always knew was dangerous, but every day there's something else that's revealed about him that makes you know that even your concerns about his danger were not enough. This president and all of the things that we're alluding to, in addition, adding to that, the fact that they don't care if young people die because they have a theory unproven that they will get the antibodies that will eventually cause the coronavirus to go away. It is unfortunate that we've had to suffer this, but like you're saying, he'll be out of here. I'm told that he's thinking about whether or not he's going to leave the White House during inauguration. But as far as I'm concerned, if he tries not to leave, I want the military to go and walk him out.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.